Hello YouTube and Merry Christmas. Welcome to a very quick bonus episode of Disappointed Dragon. We did say we were going to do the combined version of all of these dinosaurs. I figured before that we could just take a real quick look at them all. I'll tell you which one's my favorite. So these, of course, came in the advent calendar that Valhalla opened. Dinosaur themed, really cool. The quality's quite nice. It's obviously knockoff construction toys, but it's really good. We've got the armored like ankylosaur type dude. He's got his swinging tail. We've got a long neck dinosaur of some kind. Not really sure which kind it's supposed to be, but you know, you've got to have one of those in a set of dinosaurs. Sort of a stegosaurus type deal. The spikes, very recognizable. He's the one with the really weak neck. Some kind of two-legged dinosaur, probably meant to be a raptor. Probably the weakest of them because it doesn't really look very good or go together that well. Weird sort of triceratops. It's 3 horns that have just flown into the stratosphere. And its tail spikes, which is odd. And one that I really didn't like at the time, which is a pterodactyl, but is quite grown on me actually, is probably my most... well, the most interesting one. I don't know if it's my favorite overall. It's actually a bit of a toss-up between these two. I like the colors on this one. I like the design. I like the hinge piece tail. That's a pretty cool idea. Just gives them a more dynamic look than the others because everything is always kind of up and down. In Lego, it's kind of cool to have it be at a different angle, but this one is pretty neat too. So, lean over to pick up the piece that fell. I'm going to build the combined version of them. I'm not going to do it on camera. Part of the reason is I want to keep this video short, and the other reason is I actually lost one of the instruction sheets. Somehow, when we were cleaning up all of the Advent stuff, one of the instruction sheets is missing. So I'm going to do my best to figure it out without that, and hopefully I can, and then we'll look at the whole thing together and see what it looks like. But we'll cut to it being done, and I'll tell you what I think of the combined version. It's probably going to be a little bit horrifying, but we'll get to that. So, see you in a few minutes. Well, for you, it's going to be seconds. For me, it's probably going to be 45. And we're back. So, the frustrating thing is the instructions that I was missing were for the final step to finish the head. So I actually had to go on Google and look for images of what this combined figure was supposed to look like and then kind of reconstruct his head from there. And there's a lot of pieces left over and it makes me feel like I'm missing a step, but this perfectly matches all of the images that I found on the old interweb. Some of them vary a little bit, but the majority of them looked exactly like this. So it's kind of what I expected. It's a multicolored, weird Triceratops. And it's not very well constructed. I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I would have preferred if it had used up all of these pieces. I don't see the point in having so many pieces left over. And the most egregious thing about this thing to me, aside from the horrible color palette, because obviously it's a bunch of different colored dinosaurs together, which does not really work out very well. I have a couple of complaints. The first complaint is that the back legs are longer than the front legs, so you can see that the whole body slants forward. I'm sure if I positioned it around enough, I could kind of fix that. And you could modify this back leg so that it's up a little bit higher so that doesn't happen. But following the instructions exactly, because I had the instructions for that part, it's going to have the lean. I don't like that. The second issue is with the head, and I did have the instructions for this part. This piece is connected to if it'll focus, a ratchet joint. Those two pieces do not go together. That is basically a Lego hack idea where they're putting two pieces that are not meant to go together. Not great. Another thing is, and I did have the instructions for this part as well, the head is attached by a 2x2 onto the ratchet back there, and then this giant thing. So this pops off real easy. And then putting it back on is really frustrating. It's not a good design. It's not great. There's enough pieces here, I feel like you could have made a better connection than that. And then this whole headpiece. Now this could be wrong. This was the part I was missing, was how to attach this headpiece. But the closest thing I can tell, because I did have the instructions for part of it, was that it's going to be attached by this one single peg back there. If you can see that, it's just attached by one peg. Because I did have the instructions up to putting that peg on, but I didn't have the instructions after that point. So that might not be correct, but from looking at the rest of it, I don't see how else we could have connected it up here that would have made it more secure. In order for it to have this head shape with the beak, there's no pieces that would make that more secure. It's not great. However, these sets normally, when they don't come in the Advent, are normally knockoff Lego sets sold in very small boxes, like I would get from that warehouse place, and they're usually like $1 or $2 a container. And for $1 or $2, you get a lot of Lego, and you have the option to make a bigger dinosaur. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to fault it for that. I still think it's good. For what it is. It would not pass the standards of like the main Lego company, but for the knockoff construction toys, it's perfectly adequate. The pieces are actually quite nice. They actually stick together almost too well. The clear plastic ones actually cracked and have stress marks because they stuck together too well. The regular non-clear pieces didn't have that problem because they're a different kind of plastic with different tolerances. They're perfectly fine. I would not be able to tell the difference between them without looking at them closely if I just pulled them out of like a construction bin. That'll do it, guys. Again, Merry Christmas, and enjoy our next video. We're going to come up to me playing golf because I lost. It's going to be super fun. I'm not going to get mad at all, I promise. All right, everybody, as always, stay happy, stay healthy. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.